Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first pregame chat on Top Corner Talk. It's just me today. Okay? The game is in 4 hours. The biggest game of the year. You see it on the ticker right there. Boom! Biggest game of the year. Sporting Kansas City comes to town on a Wednesday night, 7:55 kickoff. Fans will be in attendance. I'm excited. I'll be there as a fan. I'll be in section 120-ish with Jeremy from Top Corner as well, right near the No Goal Patrol folks. Shout out to them. They were awesome in the game that I went to, the Open Cup game versus Union Omaha, which was a 2-0 win. And yeah, I mean, we're going to be chatting. We're going to be predicting the lineup. We're going to be predicting the score. We're going to talk about how I feel, how you guys feel. It'll be a great time. All right, let's get straight into it. Straight into the lineup prediction. So here we got the lineup maker. I don't think they're going to go with the 4-4-2 that was already here. I think City goes with something that they've played. I mean, defensively, they've almost all season they've been in a 5-4-1 with a main three back and then wing backs. That's kind of what they played with Olaf. But I think today they might go with the 5-4-1. In goal, they expect. Let me flip this real quick. They expect Roman Bürki and net to be back from that broken hand suffered in practice. So I expect Bürki to be to be the keeper today for City. When you look at this back line, you've had a couple guys that have been regulars. Recently, it's been Timo Baumgartel. Jonas Horn missed a couple games with an injury, but Kyle Hiebert's been a mainstay. And I think that's one thing you'll see, that right center back spot. I think you're going to see Kyle Hiebert as that right defensive back. He's been good in that position. He's been solid all year. You really can't ask for more from him right now. So I'm going to go Hiebert on that back right position. I'm honestly, you know what I'm going to do real quick? I'm going to take wingback, a guy who played a wingback position last game versus San Diego on that right side, Akil Watts. I think he actually played a good game too. Watts played a good game last game, I think. And I think Watts, to signify that he'll be a wingback, I'll put him up here. Another wingback you saw, he actually was used as a midfielder last game, Jonas Horn. But I think Jonas goes back to his natural position. I would expect it. I would hope he goes back to his natural position on that left side. So I'll put Horn on that left wingback position, even with Watts, about there. You look at that middle defender, that middle back defender, you could put Josh Yarrow, you could put Timo Baumgartel, you could put Michael Wenzel, you could put Jake Gerwood-Reich. I think the middle, they'll go with Josh Yarrow. Even though he may have had a lackluster game last time, people saw and their reaction to his performance were, why is he donning the City Red still? Why is he still at the crest right behind me on his jersey day in and day out? I think that's a little far. I think Josh is a good player. I think he had a couple bad games, and I think they'll put him, I think Olaf, when making this, even though he won't be on the field coaching, I think he's still going to be making the rosters and stuff like that. But I think you're going to see Yarrow in the middle there. And then on that left side, I talked about him earlier, we're going to see, I hope, and I think we're going to see Timo Baumgartel on that left back spot. You saw a guy who made a lot of chances last game. I'm going to go straight up to the striker position because I think this is my easiest one other than Bürki. I don't think they're going to start Becher unless Klaus has some kind of injury or some kind of tiredness from last game, which we didn't hear in the pregame press conferences from Olaf. Klaus, I think he gets a start. I think it's reasonable to say he gets a start. And yeah, I think next you'll look at that midfield. You had Valum and Ostrak last time, and you actually played very well. I think you're going to see Valum in that left mid position. And I think you're going to see Ostrak in that left or that right, almost as a 6. So I'll put Ostrak down here and Volum up here. And that left wing, I think you might see, I hope. But I think you see Celio Pompeo up here. And then Zande on that left side mirroring Celio. So this is my ideal. All right. If I could choose, if I was making the lineup, if I'm the head coach of St. Louis City SC, this is what I'm putting out there. Of course, you had Watts and, you had Zande and Celio coming as subs last game. I do think it's possible that they do something like that again, just because I don't know, Olaf feels like the offensive production was there, even though, your stats show it was another game below 2xG for them. I could see Celio coming off the bench. I could see Zande coming off the bench and then playing Hartel or Toyshirt. You know what I'll do? Speaking of Hartel and Toyshirt, I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to edit Zande. Because, I mean, I hope, okay? That's my I hope lineup. I hope that they start Celio. I hope that they start Zande. And I hope that they start the guys that I just put up there. Here, I'll put it back so I can... No, never mind. I think they put Hartel out in space on that right side. And they probably put Toyshirt on the other side, even though he had a lackluster game. So I think this is the lineup that they're actually going to give. And again, I could see Horn get swapped out for Jay Reed. I could see that 100%. Do I see that as probable? No. Do I see it as possible? 100%. It's definitely possible. We've seen it already, where Jay Reed gets the nod rather than Horn as a sub there. And I think it's a possibility here. I think the team captain, obviously coming back, would be Roman Berkey. And, we'll get in the man of match in a second. But, again, I had my I hope lineup, which was Zande and Celio on opposite sides of each other on this side. As the wings, you have the wing backs being Akil Watts and Giannis Horn. Timu Baumgartel on the left center mid. Yarrow at the center mid and Hebert at the right center mid. Berkey and net. Ostrak playing as a 6, almost a defending midfielder. And then Volum as an attacking midfielder, kind of assuming the role that Hartel played in the interim of Leuven being gone. Of course, Leuven's still not back, but I think they put Hartel out wide and let him have space because that's where he's best, is when he has space. He's not confined within a bulky system in that way. I think that's a big thing that could happen. You have Toyshirt on the left and Hartel on the right, and then you have Klaus playing as the striker in a 5-4-1. This is my prediction for the lineup today. I think that's a valid idea. I think it's probable. But I do hope that they start Celio and Zande, or at least get them a 45 minute, stint, right? Because those guys are just so electric on your offense that you got to hope and you got to pray that they can get out there and you just give them a shot. They can do something. That's my hope. I'll segue over to the next thing. Is just regular score prediction. So I think right now the way you're looking at City SC is, I mean, it's tough. You like Tom Timmerman brought it up in the pregame press conference, which was a shocking stat, where it was out of the 24 possible points in your last 12 games, or in your last 8 games, pardon me, you've gotten 2 points, right? That's 2 draws in your last 8 games, no wins. 6 losses, 2 draws in your last 8. That's rough. That's unacceptable for a team, especially when you want to make a playoffs like this. But against Kansas City, Olaf will not be on the bench. It'll be the assistant coach. I'm forgetting his name. It was one of his assistants at Brahma Poikarna in 2016, I believe. It will be Azrudin Valentic, pardon me. Azrudin Valentic will be the skipper. He'll be coaching in the interim. So I think that'll be fun to watch. If they show Olaf watching the game from a Sweeter Stadium screen, it'll get booed, but I don't think, because, I mean, the fans have showed their displeasure already, but I don't think In this situation, he's probably just in the locker room watching it, if not in a suite. But I mean, this is the second time coach has got suspended from yellows. Carnell had it in the second season before he got fired. I'm not sure what the situation was with him, but if they're in a suite, I mean, maybe, I don't know, it might happen, but that'd be crazy. I doubt it. I doubt they'll show him on the big screen like that when the coach is suspended. But the way I see this team right now is they're in a middle ground. You lose this game. If you lose this game against Kansas City, you're talking about serious considerations of your sporting director, Lutz Pfannenstiel, and serious considerations of your head coach, Olaf Melberg, being I'm forgetting the word, being fired. You're talking about a serious possibility of both those things happening because you have a slow start, and this is not a hot take in any sense. The fans have been calling for Olaf out since he lost his first game. Since they drew that game in Colorado, they were like, Olaf out, right? But I think now you have a serious consideration that if you're starting this slow, and if the front office, if Diego thinks that this squad is better than it is good enough to be winning, I think there's two possibilities. I doubt that Lutz and Olaf get fired at once because that would have to be insane. You have to lose this game like 5-0. But either it's the roster construction is good and Lutz is safe. Lutz is good, but Olaf cannot manage it, right? There's one possibility. I see it as being 3. Or Diego says, and ownership says, well, I think we're just getting unlucky. We have the players, we have the coach, we have the sporting director. I think we're just getting unlucky, right? And then no one gets fired. And that's what we've seen so far. And then you have the third option where you say Olaf is doing a good job, but he doesn't have the players to fit his system. And that's a situation where I could see Lutz getting fired. In that situation where you see Diego's point of view in any of those 3 ways. And I'm not going to speculate on which one it should be. I'm not hoping for anyone to be fired. I think that Olaf is a good soccer coach. I think Lutz Pfannenstiel is a stand-up guy, and he's a good sporting director. He's brought in so much talent. He's built this team from the ground up. I have nothing but the utmost respect for both of them. But again, the fans at the end of the day, they influence a lot. And if the front office starts to feel that pressure, then I think it's a possibility if you lose this game. But that's not what I'm going to predict. I'm not going to predict that City SC loses this game. Okay, I'll be in attendance with my brother. This is my brother's first time in the supporter section, my first time in the supporter section during a regular season game. Okay? City's not going to lose this. Celia Pompeu is going to score in the 47th minute, straight out of half, whether he's subbed in after 45 or he's starting. Celia Pompeu scores in the 47th minute, makes it 1-0. And then the 87th minute, Shao Klaus scores a header. Okay? I'm calling it right now. Celia Pompeu in the 47th minute on a, let's say, shot from the right side of the box along the ground. Gets past the keeper. And then Klaus gets a header in the 87th is my prediction. I think it's a 2-0 win for City. I'm on the optimistic side, of course. I know people who have predicted 4-0 Kansas City. I know people that have predicted 4-0 City. I know people that have predicted 10-0 Kansas City and 10-0 St. Louis, right? Some unreasonable stuff. But you can only hope right now that the lineup that they put out there is similar to what you would expect. And just hope the best players are out there. And not only that, but you hope that they perform. There's a lot of hopes and there's a lot of prayers, a lot of wishes right now at Energizer Park, and looming in the fan base. And tonight is a real turning point for this franchise to see if those wishes are answered of winning, or if those wishes are denied, and if changes are made in the front office. So I think it's a huge game. It'll obviously be very, very exciting. But I think it's one of those games where you're like, this means something. This means something for real. And again, I'm going to go back to this lineup because I do think this is what they'll put out. I think it'll be Klaus at the top, Teuscher, Fallum, Ostrak, and Hartel as the midfield. Of course, Ostrak playing a little bit back as the 6. Fallum playing more offensive in that transition game with a high press when Kansas City has the ball without attacking. If Kansas City has sideways passes and backwards passes like City does sometimes, I think you'll see more pressure from that offensive front of Fallum and Ostrak. and those wing backs coming up. Even Horn and Watts may be pressuring in that offensive zone or in the offensive half, right? Or in the final third even. And then I see Giannis Horn, Timu Baumgartel, Josh Yarrow, Kyle Hebert, and Akil Watts as the back five. If you want to call it five, it's truly just a back three with wing backs. That back three being, of course, Baumgartel, Yarrow, and Hebert, and then having Watts and Horn play as more of a defensive wingback position. And then Roman Berkey back for the first game since the last City win. City won. Ben Lunt was in net, I think it was March 15th versus Seattle at home. Seattle Sounders, 1-0 win. And they'll see if they can snap that streak of not winning, of not getting 3 points night in and night out. And this is no fault of Ben Lunt. Ben Lunt has been amazing. Ben Lunt has given you everything you wanted from Ben Lunt, right? You're not expecting Ben Lunt to go out there and pitch a shutout every time, but he did. He had multiple clean sheets, and your offense didn't show up. You cannot blame Ben Lunt for the 4 goals he gave up to Seattle because only 2 of those were his fault, right? I think the way that Lunt has played is amazing, and I think he'll get a pro contract as a starting keeper next year. Whether it be here and City has a parlay with Roman Berkey, or whether it be another MLS club or in another league around the world, Europe, maybe in his home country of Germany. I know, we all like being at home, so I wouldn't doubt him going back to Deutschland and getting a starting role in a league there. I think it's in the Bundesliga or Bundesliga 2. I could see that 100%. I think it's, like I said, I sound like a broken record right now. This is a important game. This is a very important game. I see this as, if you're looking at the season in the 7-game series, you're down 2-0, you head home. If you lose this game, you're on the verge of getting swept. If you lose this game tonight for City, you're on the verge of saying, well, they're not going to make the playoffs at all. They almost counted them out. You have to go crazy and ballistic, and that's not sustainable for this squad. All the guys in this team are very talented, but you don't have a Lionel Messi. You don't have a Cristiano Ronaldo. You don't have a Neymar. You don't have a Giroud. You don't have an Evander. You don't have Chucho Arango. You don't have that kind of player right now. And it's really that kind of winning is only sustainable with that kind of player, in my opinion. Or if you have a very concise role system where you know what you're supposed to do at all times. And I just don't see Olaf's system being that concise right now. But this game, again, if you lose it, you go down 3-0 in the series almost. And if you win it, then you have a little bit of life. You have a little bit of life, and you maybe say, well, we'll see if we can turn things around. If you draw this game, I think it's almost the same as a loss because you have to get a win against Kansas City. That's one of the things. I know Real Madrid, if you look at the reaction of Real Madrid fans right now, they are not happy. They lost 5 times in one calendar year to Barcelona and stopped them from getting any trophies. They didn't win against Barcelona at all in an official game. So how are they doing? What are they doing right now? You look for, their reaction. They're not happy in the slightest. And they have Kylian Mbappe, right? If I had Kylian Mbappe on my team, I don't care if I'm losing 100 games. That'd be fun to watch. But their standards are so high over there that what they're doing and losing to their rival 5 times in one season calls for riots almost. And I think in St. Louis, it wouldn't be that crazy, but it would be a detrimental effect. You would start seeing more empty seats. You would start seeing, honestly, you would start seeing less communal support, I think, because, again, one of the things you see in sports is the more transparency, the better. And all you've heard from this front office so far is that you like the way they're playing, which is fair because, of course, like City's generated the chances. I think Will Brandon was with City Views, posted something the other day, was like, this is the best they've done in City's history, the third year in making chances, but the worst in converting on those chances. So when the coaches say, well, we had the chances, when you look at the XG or you look at the scoreline and you're like, that's not true at all. Well, I mean, the chances are theoretically there. You have the guys making runs and you just aren't hitting those guys. You're not hitting the outlet pass. You're not hitting the last little touch, and it's rough. So I think you'll see a turning point from the team and from the fans tonight because this just means so much, right? You cannot let the boys in cyan blue go home touting their win while they're still 27th in the league, right? compared to City's 29th at that point if they lose this game. So I don't know. I'm going to read it a bunch. It's a very important game. I'm very excited. If you guys see me, I'll be in section 120 around the third row in the supporters section with my brother. It'll be a fun game. It'll be a really, really fun game. I'll be wearing my jersey, maybe a scarf. We'll be singing the whole time. We'll be yelling. We'll be cheering. And then tomorrow we'll be groaning because we have to wake up early after yelling our hearts out the night before for a soccer team. So I think I'm very excited. And I hope this team wins. I hope they bring this lineup out. I hope they give the fans a show. I hope they make the playoffs. I hope they win the cup. And I hope that this works out. But if it doesn't, you have a serious motive to call for change, and only time will tell what will happen. Some fans rooting against the team tonight just because they don't want to give the gratification to Olaf and this front office of a win right now based on their past performances. We'll see if this starts as a winning streak. We'll see if this continues the winless streak, and we'll see if we get yet another draw or yet another loss in this dark, dark time that we call spring for St. Louis City SC. Thank you guys for tuning in to the pregame thing. I know it was a shorter one, 20 minutes-ish. The first time doing one solo. I'll be doing some more stuff here and some more stuff, some big stuff coming up with a couple partners too. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you did, St. Louis City SC fan, I appreciate it. You're always a consistent watcher. I truly do appreciate you and you tuning in. It means a lot to not just me, but the guys that aren't here right now, Jeremy, Oscar, and Mo. The fan engagement that we've gotten is amazing. Like we're talking about the first episode just being something that like nobody watched. My mom and dad watched it, and then that was it, basically. Some guys from Santos watched it, but it was really just only friends, right? And now you're talking about like reaching out to companies or companies reaching out to us for sponsorship opportunities. It's crazy. It is crazy what you guys have done. And I just want to say thank you. And if you see me at the game, say hi. I'll be in, again, section 120 around the third row in the supporters section to the right of the goal. Have a good one, y'all. Let's go City. My final prediction, City 2, Kansas City 0. Berkey gets a clean sheet on his first game back. That's my line of prediction on the screen right there. Take a good look at it. I'll post it on X right after this. Have a good one. I'll see you at Energizer Park in 4 hours. Adios.